Got you covered in the NBA and college hoops tonight. Plus, it's Conference Championship Sunday in 48 hours. Mark Zinno and I have a best bet winning day on the show yesterday, 2-1, including what was probably our best bet in quite some time, Mr. Zinno, as Maryland
Mm.
absolutely tattooed Illinois. I don't think anyone had Terps by 21 on their bingo card.
It also had some of the best closing line value. That was a trophy that I was ready to polish into a full turd last night. We
Mm.
got it at +9 in the morning, and apparently somebody from Illinois was out. It was down to +4.5. It was down to Illinois -4.5 by tip. So the line essentially was cut in half, like by almost 5 points, which is insane. So I thought we were dead on arrival, to be honest with you, because how many CLV trophies do you ever actually polish and go, look at this? This is wonderful. I mean, we didn't need it, which is interesting. I mean, the best part about getting CLV is when it lands between the closing number and the number you got. Like, that's really the whole point of closing line value. We didn't even need it because the Terps won by 20, but 21. But nonetheless, it was nice to
Yeah,
get a
but
win.
yeah, yes, you could have just rolled out of bed, I guess, at 8:45 at night, bet Maryland at +4.5. It wouldn't have mattered. But the better option, certainly, people, is to subscribe
Oh,
to the red
yeah.
hot Mark Zinno, who is on
Oh,
a
that.
5-0. He doesn't want me to do this. He's on a 5-0 run right now. Okay. You can get the next 7 days for just $77. $11 per day
That
is
is right.
what that works out to, Mark.
And
And it does
I
include your picks for Sunday's conference championship game.
no, it doesn't. Or does.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it does.
does.
Um,
Yes, it
However,
does.
I can tell you right now, and I've already discussed this with Mr. Power. You know it's serious when I call him Mr. Power. Okay.
Just saying.
Yes. I have a play circled on Saturday's card in college hoops that is targeted to be a 5% play.
My God.
So if the number pops up when it pops up later tonight on Friday, if it is the number that I want it to be and what I think it will be, at least what my projections have told me it will be, we will have a 5% play up probably later tonight, if not first thing Saturday morning. So let's keep our fingers
Okay.
crossed that, yeah, that we got it. Real quick,
It's something
before
to
we
look
move,
forward to. Okay, no, hold
yes,
on. Because I know what you're gonna do. Let me get this out. Then it'll
yes,
because
okay,
we'll get to today's picks in just a second.
yes,
Let me
yes.
say this. You talked about closing line value. I had it last night with St. Thomas. I bet them -2 the night before. They closed -4. Guess what? They
Hmm.
lost outright. That was a bad pick by me. Sorry to anyone who was on board. I thought Omaha was due to suffer their first Summit League loss. They did not suffer their first Summit League loss. They are in first place alone now, a game ahead of the Tommies.
I was completely unaware that they played basketball on the island of St. Thomas.
This is a college in Minnesota, the Summit
Oh,
League.
Minnesota? You got to
Yes.
say it the right way. Minnesota.
I can't do the accents as well as you. I leave that up to you. But yes, doesn't
Oh,
matter how
real
you
quick,
say it. It was a
real
loser.
Sunday.
All right.
Um,
Yeah. All right. Now I know you want to talk about the Hawks
yes,
game from
I
last
do
night.
because I think it's
Now you're
education.
half of the Yes, you're half of the double play. Happens to be in the NBA as well for tonight. So I am going to turn the floor over to you, sir. You can talk about the Hawks from last
Thank you.
night, and then you can talk about this Cavs Sixers game tonight. It is the NBA from Mark Zinno. The NBA is fantastic, as is yourself, sir.
And just a lesson here. A quick. I'll make very brief. So we played the Hawks on the show last night, -4.5. Right? I got so locked into Toronto and how bad they were on the road that I wanted to play against them against a shorter number with the Hawks on a back-to-back. Kind of ignored, even brought it up yesterday, saying, "Hey, they're not that great off a back-to-back," but I was willing to, run the risk anyway. When I started looking deeper in the game as we got closer to tip, I said to myself, the over was the play in this game. Should have played the over, not the Hawks. I tried to talk myself into it being a little bit correlated. It's not. But nonetheless, the Hawks, it looked like it was going to cash. They had a 6-point lead with like 3 minutes left, and they ended up blowing it and losing by 4 or whatever it was. So it was a pretty epic collapse. Now, again, we talked about this yesterday. I want to bring it up. These two teams, Toronto and the Hawks, are going to play again on Saturday in the same arena, Radiant State Farm. So 2 games for Toronto in the United States, obviously back to back, same city. I think you're going to be paying a massive premium on the Hawks given the fact that they just lost and that Toronto is very unlikely to win 2 in a row because I don't think they've won 2 in a row all season long. If that number gets closer to 8, like I would be okay with a 2-point premium. 4.5 to 6, 6.5 is the real cusp. I think if you get over 7, if you get to 7.5 or 8, absolutely, I think Toronto is the play. I think it's an overreaction and an overcorrection to Toronto's loss. Here's the reason why. Again, Toronto, who's been bad, obviously south of the border. Guess what? They didn't have to get on a plane. They stayed in the same hotel. They slept in the same bed. They've had the same routine now for 3 days since they've been in Atlanta to get ready for this game. They theoretically should have a much better showing on Saturday when they play Atlanta. So if that number balloons up to 8, I'm not saying Toronto's going to win the game. I just don't know if the Hawks are going to win pretty much by double digits in the game. So just something to look out for going forward. That's all I wanted to kind of throw out there to everybody and try to make it a little bit educational.
Let me clarify something really quick with
Yes.
Toronto. They have won back-to-back games this season,
Okay.
a few times. Every time, though, except the current 2-game win streak, because they've won 2 in a row now. They beat Orlando the other night. Every other time, both wins came at home. This is the first time that they have back-to-back wins, including a road win. And listen to this. They have never won 3 in a row at any point this season. So this is it's traditionally been a spot to off back-to-back wins. The Raptors have lost by 14, 37, 18 the previous 3 times. So they haven't done well.
I hope they balloon this number up to anything over 7 is a key number in the NBA if you believe in that, right? It's a little more erratic, but 7 is a key number. If we get over 7, I think we fire on Toronto on Saturday.
Okay, you want to talk about big spreads that are ballooning? You have uncovered sort of an interesting angle here as the Cavs play the Sixers. What a first half it's been for Kenny Atkinson and the Cavaliers, right? Kenny is going to be coaching. I'm on a first-name basis with him, in case you didn't know. He's going to be coaching the Eastern Conference All-Star team, his first year as a head coach with the Cavs. The Philadelphia 76ers, on the other hand, are an embarrassment to professional basketball. I believe they take the professional out of professional basketball. I think there's an argument they should be contracted, quite frankly. They have incredible injury concern. I mean, the injury situation is it's not a concern. It's almost laughable what's going on with this team. However, Mark Zinno, as I tee you up, 76ers at home tonight, catching a big number might be in a kind of a favorable spot here because Cleveland, awful loss, is in a look ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, you talk about Cleveland off that bad loss to Houston on the road where Darius Garland missed 2 of 3 free throws at the end and ended up losing the game 109-108. Look, when you look at a team like Cleveland, for young teams, this stuff matters. The regular season matters because they're young players and, winning every single game as much as they can is what they've come to believe coming out of college in the early years and never having touched the Larry O'Brien trophy. Like their goal is to win every game they can. Just go back to the Cleveland-Oklahoma City series, right? Cleveland won the first matchup. What did Oklahoma City do in the next one at home? They absolutely demolished them, right? So Cleveland takes this loss to Houston the other night. They now get a weak Philadelphia team, which has lost 7 in a row. And as BP just said, they're bad about everything. But guess what? They get Philadelphia tonight. They have a back-to-back with the Rockets tomorrow at home. I just don't see the Cavaliers keeping their foot on the gas pedal here and pushing when they know they have a rematch game tomorrow with a team that just beat them that they probably want to beat again. So I just kind of look at this and go, Cleveland's going to play hard. They're going to, especially in the first half, like they'll come out and then they'll pull up late and just let Philadelphia hang around because they're not about to push all the way through this thing. That's kind of what I see unfolding here. I think the way Cleveland covers this big number is that Philadelphia is so god awful, and they just they don't get to 90, right? Like that's the way they cover this number because the Cavs and the pace of this thing, they can grind it down to something that's 105-89 and they still cover, right? Like that's kind of Cleveland is even though they play one of the faster paces, Philadelphia plays one of the slower paces, and that should be enough here for this thing to stay within this big number. So let's take Philadelphia here plus the 10.5 and call it a night.
Philadelphia right now, if you can believe it, Mark Zinno, would not even be in the play-in tournament for the playoffs. That is an embarrassment. However, I concur with you that the spot screams Sixers tonight. So smash that like button if you agree with taking the points with the Sixers again. It's all about, as Mark laid out, the Cavs have a massive look ahead to the Rockets tomorrow night. I had a nice NBA winner. Speaking of nice NBA winners,
Oh, did you?
yesterday on the show, my half of the double play talked about the game over in France, San Antone against Indiana. Didn't need those 3 points, did I? Zinno. Spurs
No,
won by
not
a
at all.
lot. They put up 140 points. But today, for my double A, back to school. We're talking college. Best game on the Friday night slate is Michigan Purdue. First things first here. I think Michigan's the better team. So plus 4.5 seems like a pretty good number to grab it from where I sit. Secondly, Michigan's got 2 key edges over Purdue. Defensively, they're 23rd in points per possession allowed. Purdue at home has had some issues defensively. 165th in points per possession allowed when playing in West Lafayette. The other edge the Wolverines have, rebounding. We saw Purdue's inability to rebound the basketball, burn them last time out. They blew a double-digit halftime lead. They lost outright here at home to Ohio State. Of course, if you caught me on Wager Talk today, Tuesday, I said take Ohio State plus 10 there. Didn't need those points. Buckeyes storm back and win the game outright. Purdue allowed Ohio State to shoot 53.3% overall, 47% from three. So that's more of those defensive woes. Now, prior to that, I understand the Boilermakers have been playing well. They'd won 7 straight, covered 6 straight. They had a 26-game home winning streak before that Ohio State game. But I think the perception, Mark, of, oh, well, they're not going to lose 2 home games in a row helps us here and gives us the good number to take with Michigan, who, and this is the key for me when I uncovered this. Oh, by the way, the Wolverines have not lost a game by more than 3 points all season. Their 4 losses have been by 2, 2, 1, and 3. The 3-point loss was an overtime game to Minnesota where they blew a big halftime lead. One of the other previous 3 losses came out of a ridiculous 4-point play to that fraud Oklahoma team. So Michigan is an underdog. Yes, I think I will. Michigan plus 4.5. My half of the double play. Smash that like button if you agree.
I don't like the way you said Michigan.
Say it that way. It's
It's
the way to do it.
unnecessary.
It's fun. It was
It's unnecessary.
unnecessary. Okay. All right. I'll take note of that the next time I break down a Michigan game. We won't do that anymore.
Yeah.
People like Kakalaki. Maybe
No.
they'll like Michigan. Comment down below if you'd like me to say more things
No.
to annoy Mark Zinno.
I mean, you guys have. I got to tell the people watching, you have no idea. Brian Powers like the woman in this relationship. He really is. You don't listen to me. I say things and you don't listen. Shut up.
I'm upset. You're like, why are you upset? I'm like, well, I lost my bet last night. Oh, well, what did you have? I don't know. I told you 50 times yesterday. I
I
know
keep
what
trying
your
to tell.
play is like the back of
Keep
my
trying to
hand.
tell
I don't
people.
even need to visit wt.buzz/mz because I know what the hell your plays are. Now,
I
if you would
understand
like to
that.
visit wt.buzz/mz, don't forget about that 7-day special. You can
Oh
also get
God.
it from me as well.
WT.buzz.
wt.buzz/BP.
BP.
There I am. I'm not a
It's a
bad
big
looking guy.
pansy.
I got to say it.
I mean, that's hey, everybody can reasonable minds can choose to disagree. But the difference is I didn't know you played an island last night called St.
Played
Thomas instead of a basketball
a
school.
school in Minnesota, the Summit League.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Summit League. It's not one of my
Wide open
conferences.
country. It's a real a hodgepodge. You know, you got the North Dakota teams in there, the South Dakota teams in there, Omaha. I think the Kansas City Roos
Didn't North
are
Dakota
involved.
and South Dakota play to a game that almost got to 200 points last night in regulation?
Yes, they did. Yes.
Right?
A lot of points, a lot of scoring.
That's I haven't seen that much scoring since college.
So I'll tell you what, we drove through South Dakota a few years ago. Big state. Big state. Okay. Nobody cares about that.
To go
Just
look
thought
at a
I'd throw
couple
it
of
out there.
faces on a mountain.
We did, as a matter of fact. Yes. Did.
You want to do a Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore? You want to do a Mount Rushmore conversation? Okay,
Of what?
comment below your Mount Rushmore of sports betting people today. I want to know your top 4.
It's a
I
good
want
one.
to know
Did,
your
did, did
top
that just
4.
come to you?
I would love
Did
to.
that just come to you?
What's that? No,
Did
Brian,
that just
I'm
come to you? Did the
smart.
light bulb go off your head?
Everything just
Oh,
comes to me. So give us your top 4 Mount Rushmore of sports betting people that you follow that you like. Okay, I want your Mount Rushmore. This is the laziest radio segment in the history of radio, right? This
It
is
was
what all,
quite good.
this is what all 19 and 20-year-olds do when they get behind the mic for the first time. I got a great idea. Let's do a list. Let's do a Mount Rushmore. Anyway, but yeah, so would I be on your Mount Rushmore?
Thank you. I'll comment down below on the when we
Such a
put the
jerk.
video out. There you go. Okay, I had a point there. I'm glad I brought up my family vacation to South Dakota. You know
Oh,
what else I enjoy in the comments section? I like when
yeah.
people are like, I don't really care for the picks on this show, but I just like watching the show. That's very
Yeah, I
interesting.
know.
Seeing as a
Yeah.
point,
I
this show
appreciate the
this
fact that
show
you guys find
exists
this
to give out
entertaining.
picks. I mean, we must be that entertaining that my God, you
I
watch a
mean,
show about sports betting picks, and you're like, you know what? The picks are secondary to my enjoyment of the show. We must be doing
well,
something
that's good.
right. Maybe we'll
I
both
guess
be on
so.
the Mount Rushmore.
Except for the three tools who like, I only watch to fade. Oh,
It's a
Zinno
new
is
voice.
such a baby. Oh.
We've talked basketball.
Yeah.
Please, by the way, smash that like button if you've been enjoying the show so far. Subscribe
Tell
to
a
the
friend.
Wage Talk YouTube channel. And yes, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell anybody. Just open your front door right now and shout the words subscribe to the
Morning
Wager
wage.
Talk YouTube channel.
No, no,
Morning
no,
wait.
no,
Well,
no,
you
no.
can't subscribe specifically to our show. It does not work that way. I apologize. I will
Well,
talk
we
to
need to
someone
make it work that
if you
way.
would like that. Okay.
Yes, I would like that
Anyway,
to happen. I would like to
okay.
have more. Should we create a wager talk? I mean, a morning wager like Twitter/X page. That's what we should do.
If you want to do it, you could do it. I'm not
That's
going
what
to
we
stop
should
you.
do. Your
All right.
face and my face together.
Oh,
Or this way. Sorry. There you go.
we go.
Side by side.
Strike a pose. All right. Sunday, NFL Conference Championship games. Pretty big games, huh?
Can I
You
just give you the
probably,
lead in for this? Ca- just say it out loud.
if I
We're
say
going to be
no,
the
you're
two.
going to do it anyway.
Yes, I am. We're going to be the two chalkiest bitches out there. That's what Championship Sunday is.
So, how do we talk about both of these games in one? Well,
Be the
very simple.
chalkiest bitches out there.
We give out the teaser that probably all of you have thought about
The
during this week.
chalkiest
Yes,
bitches
our
out there.
show best bet is to take Philadelphia from -6 down to a pick 'em and take the Bills up from +1.5 to +7.5. Look, everybody's doing it. Usually I
Yep.
run from that, but in this case, it makes a
Yep.
lot of sense. I'll say a couple things that don't bode well for the Commanders. Number one is their fourth straight week playing on the road. Number two, teams that open the season 150 to 1 or higher Super Bowl odds, they are just the fourth to make it this far to the conference championships. There
Right.
was
Yeah.
only two have gotten to the Super Bowl. The Bengals a couple of years ago, who lost the Super Bowl, and the only team in NFL history to win the Super Bowl after opening 151 or higher was that 99 Rams team, if I may take you back to our college days, Mark,
Yes.
the greatest show. When
That's the
Kurt Warner, I don't know
Mike
if you know
Tyson
this.
tackle on the 1 yard line. Yeah.
Yes, when Kurt Warner, I don't know if you know this, he used to stock
Kevin
shelves in
Tyson.
Iowa, but then he won a Super Bowl. But anyway, enough about that.
He
We
was a part of the Iowa Barnstormers, right? Wasn't he in like the AFL?
the Arena League, yes, that's
Yeah.
right, he was. All right, so we think the Eagles are beating the Commanders. Other
Yeah.
game, we think
Can I just say one other
we think
thing?
I'll say
Let me
one
just
thing,
say
and
one
then
other
you
thing
can
about
say
the
many
Commanders.
things.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
No,
the
say
Commanders thing
something
was on
about
the
the
screen,
Commanders.
so I wanted to address this game real quick.
Oh,
I've said this all week long, and I don't think anybody else has said it because it seems to bother people. Guys, the Washington Commanders didn't win last week. The Detroit Lions lost, and there's a difference. Like, let's be
oh,
objective about this. 5 turnovers, you don't win a football game, period. Like, that's what the Lions could never get out of their own way. They choked it away. I'm not taking anything away from Washington. They're a good football team, but they're not good enough to barely squeak by Tampa and then get 5 turnovers from the best team in the league and then go on the road to one of the toughest places to play, a place where they already got beat pretty soundly this year, and should have lost the other game to them had Jalen Hurts not got a concussion in the first quarter. I still think Philadelphia wins the game that was in DC. Come on, like you don't have to overthink this. I'd love for the Commanders to win and get in from the standpoint of I want the Bills to win the whole thing, and that's a much easier opponent than the Eagles. But they're not going to win this game. So we are on the side of the Eagles down to a pick 'em.
Dan Alexander, our good friend and producer, is going to be at this game as he returns
He
to his
is.
home base in the city of Brooklyn. He says the Eagles are undefeated all time in NFC Championship games when he's in attendance. So there's a random trend for you. I think this
Well,
one
considering that,
0, 2-0 lifetime. Yes, I don't know how
I
many
think
it's
it's
been.
probably 2-0 is what 1-0 is what he's referring to, like the last time they hosted one.
He's
And got
younger.
in.
He doesn't like go back to the Buddy Ryan days or anything like that. Anyway,
You
um,
just go back to the Andy Reid days. They never won the NFC Championship game.
well, they did the one. They played the Patriots in the Super Bowl that one year.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's
you're
right.
right.
Yeah,
Points well taken.
Theo had the broken leg.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Other game.
Bills and
Bills.
Chiefs. Bills and
Yes.
Chiefs. The Chiefs rarely win by margin. We understand that. Uh, I thought I was going to love the Bills coming into this week. I have to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I'm getting cold feet. I'm getting the Patrick Mahomes is going to stick the knife right in our heart kind of feeling at 9 o'clock on Sunday evening. By the way, you mentioned about, I want to say one more thing about the Commanders. It's going to bleed into this game. You talked about how maybe they didn't win it so much as Detroit lost it last week. Very interesting tidbit for Conference Championship Sunday, Mark Zinno. All four
Mhm.
teams were outgained last weekend in victory.
Yes. You're getting scared on the Bills, and I only have one thing to say to you. Hey, Bryan, you a bitch. Don't be scared.
That was
Don't be
uncalled
scared.
for. And I thought
The
you were
Bills are
going to
winning.
react. Okay,
I'm
wow.
not. Listen. There is one number you need to put in your head. Okay, for the Buffalo Bills, and it's
I'm
24.
gonna put it in my head.
The Bills get to 24. Guess what? Chiefs can't beat them because they can't score more than that. That's the reality of the situation. So if I'm Sean McDermott, and I wish I was, I would not pass up any points. I don't need to go for it on 4th and 3 at the 20-yard line. I just need to take the points. Because guess what? If I get to 24, you know what the Chiefs aren't doing? Getting to 25. Can't do it. Not against a good team. They do it against a bad team. If the Bills don't beat themselves and don't make mistakes, they're winning this game. Force this Kansas City offense and this Kansas City passing game, which didn't throw for 200 yards in the first meeting and didn't rush for 80 yards in the first meeting, to beat you. That's it. I mean, the Bills didn't give up a sack in the last meeting to the Kansas City Chiefs. I know it was in Buffalo. And I know there's going to be a flag that's going to help the Chiefs out. We all know that. Just admit it and resign to the fact that it's going to happen.
Maybe not. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I mentioned this with
I know
Prez.
you think the NFL officers heard Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. You think they heard them?
Yes, I do. Now you insulted my manhood a little bit moments ago. That upset me tremendously. I'm going to
now. The Bills, pansy.
Well, guess what? I already had a 5% winner on the Bills when they played in the regular season against the Chiefs. So what do you got to say about that? All right.
I don't have to say nobody cares.
About
I keep telling you
69%.
about bringing up stuff from like 6 weeks ago, let alone 6 years ago, like some of our other cohorts do. You know, in 1997, I went 73% against the spread the entire year. Buy my picks now.
69% in the NFL since Christmas. What do you got to say? 3-1 last weekend. Is that better?
Good.
Are you happy now?
Hey, went 3-1 last weekend. Very good. I didn't do that last weekend.
Bad.
No.
No. You know what?
Wasn't happy. Stupid Isaiah
Eagles
Pacheco.
Bills teaser. There you go. It's our show best bet, and that is our take on NFL Conference Championship Sunday. We went a little long today, but that's okay. Thank you, Joe Ranieri, for letting us do that. We always enjoy talking to the people.
That means he has something else to do. That's all it is. If he was paying attention, he would have yanked us off stage 10 minutes ago.
That's true. I've thought about that.
I mean,
all right.
He's multitasking. Yes. There's BP. You a bitch. Now we're dancing. That's why we got to stay on longer so we can make that graphic, and I like it.
I'm really happy right now.
Subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel and ask for the morning wager only. Hey. WT.buzz/BP. BP. WT.buzz/MC. There we go.
Next time, let's cash some tickets.
Always got my back.